Hey everybody, it's Pete Scheider with the Meadville Tribune Sports Department, and it is time this week for Sideline Confidential, episode 17, the date being Tuesday, December 17th. We just put the paper to bed, and it might be our last podcast for a couple weeks. I'm not really sure what's going on next week. It's a big holiday weekend next week with Christmas and everything, and I don't know if we're all going to be in the room together at the same time or what. So if you don't hear from us next week, be sure to check in 2020. The future, y'all, and we'll talk about sports then, but we'll see, but anyway, they're not going to say anything until I introduce them. I'm here with Matt, aka the Pretzel Man DiGiacomo. How are you today?
Pretty good. A little warm.
Really?
I have my coat on for a little while.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and then to my left is Jordan Hansgen. What's up, man?
I was the opposite of warm. It was cold.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty icy, up at least in Union City. I don't know how it was down here.
You're a Buffalo guy. You should be used to that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone always says that I'm not allowed to complain about the cold when it's because I'm in Buffalo. Yeah. So I guess it's fair, but fair? Cold stinks. I don't know.
Well, I don't think it's not that you're not allowed to complain about the cold. I just think
I can't lie. It would.
Would you rather be in Buffalo right now or here?
I mean, they're the same pretty much to me. I haven't weather-wise, they've been about the same since I moved here.
Well, my wife used to live in Alaska, and I'm
that's
like,
pretty cool.
And I'm like, what do you mean it's cold?
Right. Yeah.
All right. So, what's going on? Last weekend was your Bills got a big win over the Steelers. You want to kick off with that?
We're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Second year out of 3. So, I mean, this one's way more exciting because this team might actually be good. And a weird way to think about it, they going to Pittsburgh and winning is something the Bills haven't done since the 70s.
Yeah,
was the stat, which is crazy. And this team, they're wired differently. They're wired as a team that they believe that they can win against anybody. They're not afraid of anybody. When the Steelers played. The Steelers thing is in the fourth quarter they play Renegade by Styx to get the crowd fired up and the team fired up. And the Bills players were dancing and playing air guitar on the sideline, getting amped up themselves during the play. So they don't really they're not intimidated by anything, even though Pittsburgh's defense played really well.
Yeah, J.J. Watt was.
He's really good, yeah, and he had a couple forced fumbles, and he could have had another one. He punched at Allen.
Yeah,
and
Allen just got the ball away.
Yeah. So that game could have went either way. Those teams are kind of like the two Spider-Mans pointing at each other. Neither of our offenses are that good, but our defenses are elite. And but the Bills made the plays when they needed to. Allen made a couple nice throws on that game-winning drive, and
Duck Hodges looked human.
Duck Hodges looked pretty bad, to be honest. He looked pretty awful.
I think you saw a guy who does not have the arm strength to play in the NFL and try and make key long passes.
Yeah.
Where you have to really – those passes where you really have to zip it in there. He just doesn't have the ability to do that. Now, he can still throw long, and he can still throw some nice, deep passes as far as, the ones you don't have to zip in. He's fine with that. It's that – and you can see – you can always tell the difference between a guy who can do that and a guy who can't.
The Bills took a big advantage on when Duck Hodges had to go deep. I think he had all three of his 4 interceptions were deep passes where the Bills took advantage, and then the one was a deep out route that Tre'Davious White jumped on, and that I think I was watching a game with my brother, and I said, that's the difference between Josh Allen and Duck Hodges, is that Josh Allen can throw that out route, and because his arm strength is so high that he might be able to fit that ball there, whereas a guy like Duck Hodges, who's an undrafted player, he just doesn't have the arm talent to be able to do that. It's something that he has to learn through. I think the Steelers are still in the driver's seat to make the playoffs.
They still have to win out, I think.
But, they're limited right now with what they have, and I don't know what they're going to be able to do if they have to play Kansas City. I don't think they can keep up.
Right. Well, I'll tell you right now, regardless, if you look at where they were supposed to be and then with the Bills, where everyone thought the Bills were going to be, and what the Steelers had to play with for the last, since pretty much week 3 when Roethlisberger got hurt. If the Steelers make the playoffs, it's between those two coaches for Coach of the Year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah. I was thinking about Coach of the Year. I think that this win over the Steelers probably makes McDermott ahead of Tomlin in that regard, even though my pick was Tomlin for most of the season. But I think that there's like the 49ers coach, you got to give Kyle Shanahan some love. Yeah. Harbaugh, I think, deserves a lot of credit for what they've designed with Jackson. How bad they're beating everybody. They deserve a lot of credit for that.
I agree with that.
The Packers coach.
If the Steelers get in still with what they've had to play with, let the Bills go out there and take away their entire offense except your quarterback and see what happens. You know,
because I think the Bills are talent-wise, they're a lot better than people give them credit.
Oh, they are.
They are I don't think McDermott's done a great job, but I don't think it's as hard of a roster to make a good team out of that people perceive them to be just because they don't know that much about the Bills. I think that McDermott's done a great job of the defense. I mean, they're arguably the best defense in the league, and they. But
unlike the Steelers, who have had so much tumult this season and
right.
still maintained. Still, I mean, it was only a 17-10 game.
I think if you flip Tomlin and McDermott, Tomlin's Bills are still 10-4, and I think McDermott's Steelers, for some reason, I just don't know if they would. I don't know if every coach can get 8-6 out of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you don't think Freddie Kitchens is in the running for coach of the year?
I was watching a lot of that Browns game, and I don't know if it's all on. It shouldn't all be on him because the players, Landry and Beckham, really bother me. The way they act when they're losing is very troublesome. The fact that you guys are looked on to be the leaders. You guys are whether or not they want to be the leaders, you're two of the most talented players on the team. You have to be a leader. It's part of the gig.
That's all. I still say that's all comes back as a mirror of the coach. He's wearing T-shirts out saying,
"Oh, who cares?"
Right, but they've been doing that.
That's the kind of thing.
Oh, the attitude I see. Yeah.
The coach's like, we're getting this and that.
Yeah.
Well, no, your guy got up and hit the guy with the helmet. Not getting anything.
My counter to that would be that they've had stuff like that going on with every team they've played on. So that's why it's like this isn't just a Cleveland problem. This is a Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham problem. That they always, whenever they're losing, they handle losing where it's like, oh, they're competitive. They're mad that they're losing. It's like, no, yes and no, that they get pouty and they act like it's on everybody else, not them. It's not my fault we're losing. It's all because you guys are not good enough, and it's hard to play with guys like that.
It's toxic,
yeah.
And that's been some of that stuff's been kind of with the who was the one coach they had a few years back who thought he was like God's gift to football and belittled his team, so the team was like pretty much giving up.
I don't remember.
He went to the Carolina, North Carolina.
Oh, Philbin?
No. The head coach, what was his name?
I don't know.
I can't think of it, but they've had issues with coaches over the years, and that's probably why they haven't been able to zone in on one that's been able to get that team in a...
Well, the whole team Sunday just didn't look into it. They looked listless. The defense especially just let Arizona move up and down the field in the first half. I mean, and then that's one area that should be tight is the defense, and Arizona looked great. Freaking Arizona.
Right.
Yeah, they're frisky.
They're not frisky.
They're a frisky
Why is
team.
football even being played in Arizona, Glendale, Arizona?
But I think that that's a tough road trip for any team. I think that the records of East Coast teams or teams that their records going out west to teams that you never play is normally pretty bad. I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but I'd imagine that it's not very good. And when you're a team that is dealing with maybe you don't have the best coach and any sign of adversity, things go wrong and a couple players pack it in, those road games are very, very tough to win. And I don't know what they got aside. Yeah, they just didn't play well.
It was
I don't know how to
it.
solve the problems. I think I would not be surprised if Kitchens was let go. I think it's a little unfair.
I mean, if Hugh Jackson could stay on as long as he did, I think that that Freddie Kitchens will get a little more leash next season.
I think if you do fire him, though, you have to go all in on a guy that is, a slam dunk. You gotta go for the slam dunk guy.
What guy is that?
Yeah. That's the thing. Is like, I don't know. I mean, I think you could go for the Oklahoma coach, but then you have a guy that just like, I love Baker Mayfield, and that's the kind of the same problem with Kitchens, is that they hired Kitchens because he and Baker had such a good relationship. And do you do that again with Lincoln Riley, who may be, a smarter person, but I don't know, it's still kind of the same problem.
When was the last time? Give me the list of every college football coach that's coming to the NFL and hit it out of the park.
Yeah, there's
3 in the last 30 years. Why would you go that route?
I kind of like what Cliff's doing in Arizona, but I mean that's too early to tell.
Right. If you had the guy, if you're going to go for a slam dunk, and if you can get him out of the booth, out of the studio, Bill Cowher, Cleveland guy. That's the guy. If you guys say, "Hey, we'll pay you what you want. Come coach this team and get us on the right track."
Cowher said that a bunch of years ago that he was going to coach.
He's been out of the game for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. He was out of the game longer than Gruden. I just don't know if he even has any interest.
Why would you want to?
Yeah,
that job is so demanding.
Job's so stressful. Did you see? Like Gruden looks like dead in the eyes. He looks exhausted.
That's the issue. Why would you? You'd have to throw a lot of money at him.
Yeah, you have to throw literally Gruden money at Bill Cowher.
In that nice warm studio, just talking every half hour.
Right.
It would be nice.
But that's if you're talking slam dunk, that's a slam dunk.
That or
once the Patriots get knocked out of the playoffs and Bill Belichick decides he's had enough of Tom Brady, maybe he leaves.
I think maybe
you can bring him back
to the Browns.
I think for some reason, Jim Harbaugh was a really big success in the NFL, and for some reason he hasn't really translated into college. But I have no doubt that I think he would be good once he got back to the NFL. I think he likes the maturity of NFL players. I think he likes the professionalism of it.
The huge difference between college and pros is recruiting.
Yeah, and Michigan's hard to recruit for. Michigan's hard to get because all the best players now are in Florida. There's still big football in Ohio and Pennsylvania, but most of the players are football or Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, and it's hard to get players from those states to go to Michigan. Ohio State's done a remarkably good job of it, but it's just hard to compete with that when Ohio State's already the staple Big Ten school. It's hard to get Michigan out. And I think he's actually done pretty well. Michigan's a consistent top 10, 15 team, and they weren't that. I think Harbaugh would be a good pick for a lot of these NFL teams struggling.
That's the hardest part. I think the main reason why I think a lot of college coaches don't transition well to the NFL is they don't have the ability to go out and get the exact quarterback they want, the exact running back they want, where they can do that in college. They can go after that guy and say, we'll give you the scholarship, we'll make you our starter. In the pros, you got to hope you get someone who fits into that spot in the draft, or you can convince a free agent to come there.
You get the owner to cough up the cash to get the guy.
You don't have to worry about any salary caps in college because you don't pay anybody.
Yeah. I just don't know if firing Kitchens is the right thing to do, but it feels like the fan base is going to go nuts if they don't do something. Which I think is a little unfair because I think the expectations were just a little too high this year.
Oh, they absolutely were.
For what they were, yeah.
And I've said this how many weeks now that my expectations were not as high as most people, but they have far underperformed my expectations.
Right.
Yeah, same here.
And weirdly enough, though, their record is like 6-8. If they win they win out here, they're at 8-8, which is about where they're supposed to be. But it's just like
a couple years ago,
the way it happened. Yeah. It's very unfortunate. Like players losing their cool, players pouting, players, Baker not really taking the next step that you'd want to see. He's probably about the same, maybe a little bit worse.
Yeah, somehow.
So with better players, which is really bizarre.
And to be fair, the line has not protected him at all. That pocket is in a constant state of collapsing, and he has no confidence being back there and standing back there and delivering passes, and he shouldn't. He's going to get his clock cleaned if he stands around too much.
That's just the football problem of all these teams that always build from the outside in. It it never works. They're like, oh, we'll get Odell Beckham Jr. and Jefferson Landry. It looks really good for fantasy purposes, for fantasy football. But when you don't address the trenches and maybe upgrade the defense, your team has a lot of problems. I know the Bills last year, our line was horrible, and the entire line is totally different now, and the team's way better. It's not a coincidence, Like that's just how it works. The Steelers, I think, Duck Hodges is doing. He's hanging around and hanging in there mainly because their offensive line is amazing.
Yeah. Speaking of college coaching, college football, end of the road, as it says for Slippery Rock football, they made it to the Division II semifinals. They ran into a buzzsaw against Minnesota State. Boy, oh boy, that Minnesota State team, that defense was something else. They took the number one passing offense in Division II and kind of held them to not many yards. Roland Rivers III, he'd been having an amazing season, Slippery Rock's quarterback, and ended up, let's see, we missed an indent there. He ended up throwing for, well, not many. I don't know where the stats are here. Mavericks outgained Slippery Rock 463 to 310 in total offense. 310 is well under Slippery Rock's average. Rivers threw for 199 yards. He was averaging 400 something a game. On the for local fans, Cash graduate Henry Litwin, he broke the Slippery Rock University single season record for receiving yards during the game. He finished the season, his junior season with the Rock, with 1,509 yards. And he also broke the career touchdown records with his 29th. He had, I think, 2 or 3 touchdowns in that game.
I think
he had 2. Okay, yeah. And they were really nice, too. The one in the back of the end zone, he got his toes in. That was really good.
They only had 2, so.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
58-15, they lost to Minnesota State. That got out of hand. And Minnesota State just kind of did everything well. They ran the ball well. They threw it when they needed to, and their defense was phenomenal. It was a tough day for Slippery Rock, but a heck of a season, making it all the way to the Division II semifinals, and going 13-1 on the year. What a year for them! I'm interested to see what happens if Henry Litwin after call. Well, he's still got a season left, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. He's still got a season left at Slippery Rock, but
I was thinking about how they're D2 guys get drafted, and D2 guys as productive as that, I feel like he has a good chance of, making maybe holding off on his career and trying football out professionally for a bit.
Who knows? I know. Well, the kid's smart. I mean, he just got academic All-American. I imagine his priorities are going to be to get his. I don't know him that well personally, but I just know that he's always had his head on pretty straight. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see
it just seems like he may have more options than maybe he intended.
Because he was impressive. I don't know if you guys watched any of that game, but he was one of the most impressive things about Slippery Rock was his ability to bring in balls. He had one I think they might have taken away from him in that fourth quarter right on the sideline that was pretty outstanding. Even the announcer was like, man, if that kid brought in that pass, I'm going to leave this booth and go shake his hand. and they called it incomplete, but I don't know. I think if it was a clear field, I think his foot was in, but it was covered in snow. I think that was a big problem for Slippery Rock too. Was the snow?
They had been air attack.
Yeah, they've been playing in pretty clear weather the entire season long. The first 13 games of the season, and they show for the semifinals, and it's snow coming down diagonally from first quarter to fourth. So it wasn't the best day for them. But Minnesota State, which had the best run offense in the conference or in Division II. They were able to move the ball just fine, so it certainly didn't affect them at all. So that's a shame for them. Let's see, what else?
Joe Burrow won the Heisman.
He
was. They actually stopped doing the gambling lines because he was the biggest favorite in a long time. Yeah, I think I actually listened to some of his speeches. His speech is really nice. He was saying how he was like a poor kid in Ohio, I think it was the Athens area, and that this is for all the kids that go home hungry from school, And I guess the food banks there got like massive spike in donations.
Yeah, great.
Because of what he said. So couldn't have happened to a better kid, and it seems like he's probably going to go first overall. So, I mean, seems like that's great for them.
It's not good for him because that means he's going to Cincinnati.
And he won't get paid very much. Right, just Cincinnati doesn't like to pay anybody.
Army Navy game was Saturday too. Wasn't
Yes, Navy pulled away. I forget the exact score.
31-7.
31-7, yeah. The Army Navy game's always fascinating to me because it's just totally different from like football nowadays.
It's a unique game.
Yeah, I mean it's still pretty cool, and like their uniforms are always awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Navy quarterback broke a record. I think he had like 300 rushing, over 300.
304.
Yeah, so pretty awesome. Yeah.
Let's see. This week, let's go to high school sports. We were tonight. I was at a wrestling match, Cambridge Springs, Sagertown at Cambridge Springs. Sagertown won that one, 48-21. It was pretty close going into the middleweights. I think Sagertown had like a lead that was like 24-15 or something like that. But then the Panthers won 5 straight to pull away in that one. And they're looking to win out the rest of their region matches. I think they got 5 left, and because they lost their opener to Corey, and they want to get to the D10 duels. And in order to do that, they're going to have to win out and be in the number 2 spot because according to Mulligan, nobody's beaten Corey, and the way that Corey wrestled Union City today, that's probably a good thing. Like, Corey beat Union City 59-9, so that seems like Corey's in a good spot in Region 3. Let's see. Cockington got their first dual match win today. The Cockington wrestling team 70-6 over Youngsville, which only brought how many kids?
Yeah.
8 kids or something like that. 8 varsity wrestlers, I should say. You were where? You were at.
I was up in Union City for the Region 3.
That was a tight one
between Maplewood and Union City. Yeah, Maplewood. They couldn't really find like the outside shot, and it seemed like every point they really had to earn. Union City did a really good job. They only were playing 6 players, but their defense was pretty tight, and they were able to make a bunch of threes. Cole DeSimon and Matt Bennett and Jamin Higley all like combined for 8 3-pointers in the game. And Higley also has a pretty strong presence in the paint, similar to his brother, and he really filled in well. Yeah, similar. Not necessarily like the bigger shot blocker, but I think he's got like a very strong post game, and he actually has very good outside range for a big man too. So different skill set, but he actually had factored in with a few blocks and a lot of rebounds there too.
I figured that was going to be a good game. I think Maplewood was 2-2 coming in. Union City was 2-3.
I think Maplewood, they left some points on the board. I think that those two teams are very even. I think the next time they play, it will be very tight again.
In Maplewood.
Yeah, so it will be interesting, and they just. A lot of their shots didn't fall. I think for the first 4 minutes of the fourth, neither team could make a basket. So, I mean, but that's more credit to the
Union
defense.
City ended the funk before Maplewood could.
Yeah, exactly. And they
were able to pull away for a 52-46 win.
Yeah, them hitting 8 threes and Maplewood only hitting 2. That's kind of just, the difference on the scoreboard.
I tell you what, if the Maplewood boys want to learn how to shoot some threes, all they need to do is show up to a Maplewood girls game because those girls put up some bombs. I saw them last week playing, who were they playing? Sagertown. And holy cow, 12 for 44 from the 3-point range. It was insane.
Taking 44 is wild for high school.
And some of them were way back. They were just, every time they had open space out from inside the half-court line, they were putting up a tray, man. And they made a bunch. They made, well enough to win that game, 59-37 over Sagertown. Sagertown runs this 2-3 zone that they've been running under Coach Steve Scott for years. And Maplewood just spread them out from Atlantic to Pacific. It was wild because they would just be from pole to pole, and Sagertown, there was like nothing going on inside. And 12 trays, that's 36 points, and they won what did I just say? 59-37. Yeah. So
that's how you beat the 2-3 zone, though. Is you just get your sharpshooters out there. I mean, that's like a staple of beating Syracuse in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
If the team gets hot from beyond the arc there.
Izzy Eimer had 5. Who else had 5? 2 girls had 5. Izzy Eimer and I just wrote that story a week ago. Jordan Roser. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they both had 5, and a couple other girls put in 1 apiece. So they're going to be fun to watch. It'd be cool to see them keep that up this year. What else happened that night? Cambridge Springs beat Union City 67-28, and that was in girls basketball as well. Also tonight, it's not going to be in Wednesday's paper, in case you guys are wondering. Cambridge, or Connie, had got a win over George Jr. tonight. 68-63, I believe, was the final. It's not going to be in Wednesday's paper because when they sent us the scorebooks, they sent us 2 of the George Jr. side and none of the Cash side, so we didn't have a final score or anything like that. And we finally got the Cash side from the Sharon Herald, but it was right at deadline, so it's not going to be in tomorrow's paper, but it'll be in Thursday's hopefully. But good for them for getting a win. Let's see, girls basketball, Meadville kind of trounced Sharon 73-32. I thought they were closer in records, but Meadville stormed that one. They got another big one tomorrow. No, Thursday. They're hosting Erie, who beat them in the tip-off tournament championship.
So they won back-to-back nights because they beat Cash on
that's right.
on Monday.
That's right. They got a big win over Cash on Monday, the Meadville girls did, and then came back and got another one over Sharon. So they're coming along nicely. That's got to be. Let's see. They beat Cash 52-34. That was Monday night. Speaking of coming back, we're bouncing all over the place, but the Meadville hockey team got a 6-5 win over Shaler?
Yes.
That's a lot of points. I mean, Jamie Plunkett, the head coach for Meadville, has been looking for some offense from his team for a while now.
Well, he needed it. Unfortunately for Jordan McCurdy, he did not have his best game in net.
No.
A couple, I would say 2 or 3 shots he easily stops. Got by him. One guy came in, just kind of flicked one at him and went between his legs, and I was like, is he sick? Because you just don't see that very often. But his offense stepped up for him.
That's good.
Cole Weber had a hat trick. Michael Mahoney had 2 goals and 3 assists. And every time Shaler scored, people came right back and scored right on him. And then in the third period, they scored 3 quick ones to take a 6-3 lead. But then right near the end, they gave up 2 quick goals to make it 6-5.
So that was a Class 2A league?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good.
Big 2 points for them.
Yeah. Because as Jamie said the other day on the phone, it's like nobody wants to win this league. Everybody's kind of. So every point is crucial in that one. So that's two. Okay, back to basketball. Cambridge Springs boys, I got to see them on Wednesday night. They're an interesting case because they've been picking up some really tough opponents during the first part of the season, and it hasn't been a great week for them. Last week wasn't a great week for them. They lost to
Brookville in overtime.
That's right, 65-64 on Monday, was it?
That was last Wednesday.
Yeah, and then they lost to where the heck was I? That's last Wednesday, and then I saw them on Friday. Yeah, Friday.
Friday they lost to
Harbor Creek.
Harbor Creek, yeah.
73-68, and they had the lead in that one in the fourth. But Harbor Creek's a tough team.
Bigger schools than them.
Bigger schools. That's it. They're playing. They played Brookville as a 3A team. Harbor Creek's a 4A team, and Cambridge is a 2A team. And they played Oil City, which was a 4A team, and then they got Titusville, which is a 3A team coming up. So they're lining up some really tough opponents, and this is really, I think, going to pay dividends for them once they hit Region 3 basketball, once they hit other 2A opponents, once they get into the playoffs. I think getting in these tight games, getting in these close games against these big schools is really going to, as long as they stay healthy, is really going to pay off come the end of the year, because they do have some very good players. They do have some good size. They do have some good shooters.
Size is something that I think is going to be very big for them in that region. I think Wheeler and Shinsky are both Union City and Maplewood don't really have like that size.
Really, there's not a whole lot of size. Sagertown doesn't have much size either, but they're playing really well. I think they're up to a 4-0 start right now.
And they won again tonight.
They beat who?
They beat
Eisenhower.
Yeah, it was a...
It's not bad, 49-39. Kind of a low-scoring game. But, so they're off to a 4-0 start. So good for the Sagertown boys basketball team. Let's see, Meadville. They haven't played this week yet, have they?
They played Friday.
Who did they play Friday? They
Played Grove City. That was a pretty good game. Meadville started off a little slow. A little deck was stacked against them. They started slow. There was some questionable officiating early on.
You mentioned that. They just...
And
you can't listen to the fans, Matt. You weren't listening.
No,
to the fans.
I never listened.
They are the worst officials in the world.
There was one. The one referee called a charge on Davion, who he drove the baseline, kind of went around the guy, brushed him, went up for the layup. The ball's hit the top of the backboard, fell through, and Davion's like. And the referee blew the whistle as soon as they made contact, and he's going like this. And the referee's just looking at him, and then like 3 seconds later he goes, and it says it's an offensive foul. It's like, just call it. Don't sit there and look at the kid.
Yeah.
He's trying to stir something up.
Whoa.
And then earlier there was another call down by the basket, and the official was way back at the other end of the court. I don't know how he saw it, and the two officials on the other end of the court didn't see it.
Okay, well, what was Mark saying? Was Mark saying anything?
No, I didn't ask Mark because I know Mark.
No. But was he saying anything during the game? Did he say anything?
Oh yeah, he called him over a few times.
Okay, so they must be doing something with it because Mark's very
well, and then
judicious about his comments towards the officials.
Grove City won the tip, went down. There's a foul called in Meadville. They're about to toss the ball in, and they sent Davion to the bench because his short strings came out. So they sent him to the bench to tie them. They wouldn't just let him tie them. They made him go to the bench and replace them. And I'm just like...
I mean,
whatever. But Davion, smile on his face.
I will say that
hit 6 3-pointers, scores 20-something.
The game that I watched, the Maplewood Union City game that I saw. I mean, today we're taping was the 17th. It was delightful because the refs kind of swallow their whistles for most of the game. So there was, I think it was 22 or 23 total free throws, which is not that many for a high school game, or at least the games that I've normally been covering. And it was a welcome sight. But I mean, you guys just call the game the way you see it. Yeah. So I mean, I don't really have much complaints. I just I guess I like. Hopefully, I think it's more on the kids. They played a cleaner game.
Well, some of these games where I there's all these. There's like, what was I was like 45 fouls taken in the one game, Erie and Meadville. But I'm not saying the refs did anything wrong. In fact, they were like, "What do you not call?" You know what I mean?
Especially how physical.
There's so much control issues here. How do you? They have to start to, dial it back. Like, what do we let them get away with? Because this is just really.
When a kid drives the lane with reckless abandon, I mean, you got to call something,
right?
Yeah.
And I agree with that 100%. And a lot. I don't think that some of the calls were as bad as the fans were saying. Is every time there is a whistle blown.
Never.
What are you calling, ref? What are you calling, ref? Why didn't you call that, ref?
If the whistle's on their team,
when the guy's
they're
calling a
the other
foul
thing.
under the basket and he's down, hasn't even crossed half court yet.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be making that call.
Outside of a moving screen or something. At that point, I don't know.
And when you blow the whistle and then sit there and stare at the kid, and he's just like, "Oh, am I getting the bucket? Am I getting the bucket?" And you wait and wait and wait for 5 seconds just staring at him. Like, with the look on your face, like, you know what? I don't like the way you're acting. I'm just going to give you...
Do you think that's what it was?
No, he's just staring at him. And Damon's like, is it two? Is it two? I get a bucket?
I can understand if you're, like, deliberating and you want to make the right call and you're thinking about it, but...
Well, sometimes I notice them looking at the kids after making a call, but I think it's because they're double-checking to make sure they got the right number before they go to the scoring table. But... I appreciate everything that the refs do. I very rarely in my life had cause to say that that's unfair by something that they've done, and especially in this area, or sometimes it gets a little out of hand one way or the other, where you see all these fouls for one side and not for the other, and you got to start asking questions like, what? They're both playing hard. How is it possible that they have 7 fouls already and this team has 1? I don't know, but mostly I've seen pretty square. And
I understand how a team can get more fouls than another. If you're driving the lane, the other team shooting from the outside. If you're driving, the opposing team is probably going to have more fouls.
Yeah.
And if the other team shoot from the outside, they're probably not.
That's the only time it starts is when it's so lopsided. But even so, it seems justifiable at times. That, why just one team's not controlling themselves as well as the other one.
I don't know if this is the same referee I saw up at when I went to the Meadville prep game last year, and it was the JV game, and Coach Mike Pirro had asked about a call, and then for the rest of the game, that the one referee just sat there and stared at him. They didn't watch the game. Then he made another foul call. He just sat there and stared at Pirro.
Weird.
The whole time. And Coach McKissick came over and got the ref's name and filed a complaint against him, I think.
Wow.
Which was well deserved because, it wasn't like Pirro got up and was belligerent or anything. He had, what was the call? And they were just looking at him.
Meadville is home on, tomorrow I think they're hosting Lakeview. That's, Lakeview's off to a pretty good start this year. When was the last time they played? They played Monday? I don't know. They're off to a pretty solid start, so that's going to be a good game.
They've been playing well.
That's a non-region game, but Lakeview's tough defensively, so it's going to be. And here's what I wanted to say is that it's good for. I guess it's good for Meadville to have some tough officiating at times because there is going to come a time where they're getting in foul trouble and they have to start watching themselves, and there's going to be groups of referees that are going to watch them a lot closer than some, and they have to be aware of when that's happening and adjust accordingly in order to stay in the game and to continue to play their game with that set of rules that the officials are using.
Which I wanted to point out, they did very well.
Did they?
They went on to win by 20 points.
I think just being so big and so fast, that they're just more likely to get called for charges because it could be really because their collisions are just harder.
Yeah.
So it's just a kind of a human nature thing. Not like the ref is always going to try to get the call right. You have to assume. But sometimes, it's hard when when a defender gets placed on his back to say it's a block,
Yeah, but they're trained to judge that, though.
Yeah, right.
So, and it seems to me that teams that do play like Meadville oftentimes do get, because, they're showing a lot more skill than maybe their opponents are, and so that the refs will see that as a block because there's no way that guy got in front of him in time to set his feet. I don't know. We'll see. But they have to be.
I don't envy the refs, and
no.
Sometimes I don't envy the players when.
No. There's no way I could do what those officials do. There's absolutely no way. I'm way too thin-skinned. I could not stand the things that those people say. The way the coaches talk to them, I could not take it. Those guys are a special breed. They're able to stick it out year after year, dealing with. Somebody yelled at Bill Agnew the other day. He said the coach was trying to call a timeout, and he yelled, "Timeout!" And Agnew didn't hear him, and the coach yelled, "Timeout!" right in his ear. And Agnew just looked at him, and he said, "Okay, coach," or something like that, and just started laughing. There was no way I would laugh in that situation. I would, I would not handle it as professionally.
The thing is normally it's all fine at the end.
Yeah,
everybody's all calm again. I guess they've done it for so long that they know the guy doesn't. He's just in the heat of battle or whatever.
Yeah. Again, that wouldn't matter to me. My spidey
I would have a problem with it
be
too.
Very irate about.
I umpired when I was a kid and I hated it.
Baseball's bad, yeah.
And it's like I'm 14. And you're expecting me to be calling the World Series here when you for your 9-year-old, come on, buddy! I'm just trying to get my $7 and get out of here,
man. Who do they think they are sitting there and tell these guys who are trained to do this for a living, have decades of experience calling these plays to sit up there in the stands with their popcorn in their hands and tell them what the call is supposed to be?
Simply put, the call could be anything. The call could be, the call could be, it could be anything, and they. Regardless, whatever one benefits their team the most, they want. So it's just,
totally.
That's why I sit there and I laugh. And it's funny.
I don't laugh. It annoys the heck out of me, and it takes everything in my power not to turn around and go, enough! That's enough from you. Let them do their job. I just keep my notes, and it takes a lot of self-control not to say anything. But every game I do because they're so ignorant about it and they're so hypocritical.
It's always basketball. Basketball's the one that always
because
gets
it's such enclosed space.
Soccer's always kind of funny too because like a lot of people don't know the rules.
Right.
So
Oh yeah, absolutely. You say so.
They're like, how is that offsides? And I'm like, let me tell you.
There's this invisible line.
I especially love in baseball when
the line follows
they're sitting
the
up
wall
by
defenders.
first base and first base and third base watching the game.
Yeah.
And they can tell where the ball's going across the plate. They might be able to see up and down, but they can't see in or out.
Right.
And sometimes it's over the plate, but it's up here. And sometimes it looks like it's right at the belt, but it's 2 feet outside. That's a strike, Blue.
Yeah, right. Football ain't too bad because it's such a wide open space.
Far
the
away.
Referees can be a little anonymous. The side judges get some crap sometimes because of their proximity to the stands and to the coaches and everything like that. But
they get the brunt of all the coaches too. I think they have the hardest part because the umpire is always behind the quarterback and the side judges, the coaches are always asking them, and the guy's like, I didn't make the call. What do you want to say?
And you can make a call on the other end of the field and it's a holding. And what's the coach going to do? There's no holding. How do you know? It's way over here. There's no way you can see that. So football ain't too bad, but basketball is one of the most intense atmospheres that.
It's definitely that's the one I envy the least is basketball.
Yeah,
it's just every call is ticky tack. Every call is either or. And it's just like, you guys got to make a decision. Tip balls out of bounds.
And you got to make it instantaneously.
And you got to make it quick.
Or they say late call.
You got to make it quick. You got to make it, and half the place will be mad, half the place will be happy.
And you have to call it both ways. And you have to let them play. And you have to not be terrible. It drives me nuts. Shut up and watch the game.
Apologize for the conduct lecture, but.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I don't apologize. I've been wanting to say that for years.
And now we
Eat your hot dog and watch the game.
Have Sideline Confidential where we can vent about it.
What else?
Well, I told you the story about the one Little League game I went to where the guy was standing right behind home plate and screaming and yelling.
That's not allowed anymore.
He was standing right behind. I know they got marked off for people.
I still go over there.
People still sit there. But this older gentleman was
strikes.
standing behind home plate and just
where?
Up at the fairgrounds.
Oh,
Little League game. And we're 8 and 9-year-olds too, not like the older kids. 8 and 9-year-olds.
It's
and he's sitting there, and I guess I'm assuming his grandson was pitching, and he's sitting there, just throw it across the plate. These kids can't hit, and he's saying he's starting to get offensive, and the kid behind home plate was a younger, probably 16-year-old, helping out or whatever. And I was covering the game, so I kind of took my time, went over to the guy and said, "Hey, can I get your name?" He goes, "What do you want my name for?" I said, "Well, I'm with the paper. I want to make sure everyone knows who you are." And he left.
Good. There was one year in an 8 and 9 or 9 and 10-year-old game that he was yelling, "Make him bleed." He was right behind him, "Make him bleed, make him bleed." Kept saying it over and over again. I think somebody may have told him to cut it out, but maybe not. Maybe everybody just let him act that way. It's so weird.
Those games are always some of the most wild we go to during the years.
Because it's a fresh group of parents and fans that might be watching this happen.
8 and 9 is probably their first really competitive game. So
and you don't quite know how they're going to react to a competitive environment.
I saw the intentional walks for 8 and 9-year-olds.
Intentional walks.
Like a kid got intentionally walked 4 times.
Oh boy.
But you want to win, but it's.
Well, just funny you mentioned some of them were newer, and I did hear that one from. I did see that at a game. Someone said something that was maybe a little bit over the top, but not super offensive or anything.
Kind of over enthusiastic.
Right. And one of the fans was sitting there. Kind of been over to her friend. Was like, "Can you say that?" It doesn't really matter. They're going to do it anyways.
The funny part is you hear the contagion of especially in basketball, where something will happen, a play will occur, a call will be made, somebody in the stands says it's otherwise, and then the people around him start repeating that call. You know what I mean? And start spreading to that. And you can hear it like
groupthink.
Groan. Just grind to a big. Angry about it. And that's the call. That's what the call should be. All because one guy said it loud enough for everybody to hear, and it spreads like wildfire.
The other thing with that is with basketball and hockey is they're so fast paced. Comes down, call happens, goes back, and like you're immediately right back. And if you get something similar or something that you don't agree with again, then it just builds and it builds and it builds.
Hockey,
in football, there's enough time between plays that you know what I mean.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hockey, I have yet to have like where I thought the refs made bad calls. Like at least for me, like I think that there are times that they're not really in position to make the call, but
which is a bad call.
Yes, but I mean, I don't know. I don't really have as big of a problem. I think the parents normally just get mad at the other teams.
What about the belligerent applause? Like when the team's getting hammered by calls and the other team finally gets called and you get that belligerent applause.
What is that?
Oh, yeah! Finally!
It's like the Bronx. I forget what it's called. The Bronx cheer, where it's like the sarcastic, It's a sarcastic cheer.
But here's
for a call.
when
they call foul on the team, after the other team's been getting all the foul calls, and then they call one, it's like Woo.
Let me let you fans in on something. Now, if you start getting really irate at the referees and you start just jumping on them and railing on them, and every time they make a call against your team, blah blah blah, the kids are hearing that. They are hearing you behave that way, and they are hearing you react to the referees. And pretty soon, they start to think to themselves, these referees are stealing this game from us, and then they have an excuse to lose. And I've seen it happen so many times where the kids are like, well, these refs have taken it out of our hands. I'm not even going to try anymore. I'm just going to put up a stupid shot, and I'm going to run this kid over, and I'm going to get run up before my fifth fall and go to the bench all mad because they did that to me. You infect those kids with that attitude when you behave that way, and you deny them the chance to pull themselves out of the situation and win the game. And I've seen it happen so many times in my however many hundreds of years I've been doing this job, and it's bad for the team, and it's and you need to control yourself. Even if you think that things are going wrong, you have to support your team and not give them an excuse to lose the game.
Starts with you.
Yes, only you can prevent those forest fires.
I'm trying to think of what other games did we.
Oh yeah, we kind of lost track of that, didn't we?
Yeah. I think we were just running through the future ones, really.
Yeah.
When we talked about Cash, they played a close game with Sharon and the George Jr. one. That they
on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're just they're always up against it because they have such a tough region, the Cash boys.
They do. Very tough.
Yeah.
Lost by 12 to Sharon, 80-68.
So a good bounce back.
Sharon just lost to Franklin, double overtime tonight, 76-73 or something like that.
Yeah, I guess Franklin's got a pretty good squad this year.
Evidently, yeah. That was down in Sharon, too, that they got one from the Tigers. Girls basketball on the Wednesday, Eisenhower, Cambridge Springs, Iroquois, Union City, TDR Charter. Big wrestling match on Wednesday, Meadville at Warren. That's a bit of a drive. We'll see if we can get up there or not. I don't know. Let's see, Thursday, boys basketball, Youngsville, Cambridge Springs. We'll see how all their tough work is paying off when they play a 2A team in Youngsville. Jamestown at Titusville. Girls basketball, Sagertown at Cochrane on Thursday. That got moved. I believe that was supposed to be Wednesday, but that got pushed back a day to Thursday. That's a big Region 2 game in girls. Let's see, swimming, Meadville's at Warren. Is that right? Yeah, because they just swept somebody. Wrestling.
They swept Erie.
They swept Erie. Okay. So they're going for their second straight win on Thursday. Wrestling, Lakeview at Hickory on Thursday. Connie at Ohio at Connie at Area. Battle of the Conneautes on the mat on I can't remember the day, Thursday. Cochrane and Eisenhower, Maplewood at Corey, Union City at Sagertown. Another big one for Sagertown. We mentioned earlier that they're trying to win out. They got one tonight. They're going to look for another one on Thursday at hosting. Is it at Sagertown? I thought it was at Union City. Either way. Let's see, Friday, boys basketball, West Middlesex at Lakeview. Oh boy, that's going to be a big one, huh? That might be for Region 2, I think. Well, Wilmington's pretty good too. Region 3, Concord and Maplewood, Sagertown at Union City. That's all on Friday. Franklin at Conneaut area, so they get the Knights right off their big win tonight. Let's see, Meadville does not play Friday. Meadville, speaking of tough opponents for cash, Meadville's going to be at Conneaut on Saturday. That's a night game, 7 o'clock, so it doesn't get any easier for the Cash Eagles this week. Girls basketball on Friday. Everything's on Friday now. Cambridge Springs at Iroquois, Cochrane at Youngsville, Maplewood at Eisenhower, Union City. I'm backwards now. I'm looking at Friday. I'm reading this again. Wrestling. I'm done with this. You guys want to talk about anything else before we close up?
What do we got here? Star Wars is what, this week?
Yeah, I already got my tickets for Thursday at 10 o'clock.
Really?
Oh, wow.
3D.
3D?
Front row in the nice
I don't
plush
do
seats.
3D. I don't need those glasses on my face.
I'll do it if.
I did it like once, and I don't know, for some reason it didn't really like.
I only do it a couple
enhance
times.
The movie
I almost never
experience.
get it, but I always
Yeah,
Star
I bet
Wars
Star Wars is cool. So, yeah, I mean, I get it.
It's movies like that where there's a lot of space scenes and stuff flying around.
Yeah.
They're cool.
Yeah.
I found out one year, I forgot, my kids wanted to watch 3D, and it was a cartoon. And I'm sitting there the whole time like, why did I get 3D for this?
Right.
It's like, it looks the same as if I had no 3D at all.
I mean, I know like IMAX, like I've done like IMAX, and IMAX like really like enhances like the sound, and like it's pretty wild. But 3D, yeah, I never could get into the 3D game.
But it seems like to darken the image a little bit. It seems a little dim when you look at it through 3D glasses, to me anyway. I think the last time I saw a 3D film, I brought my daughter. I can't remember what movie it was, but she was just a toddler at the time. And boy, was that a mistake, because she the whole time was messing with the glasses and eating popcorn. And by the end of the movie, there was just an inch-thick film of that popcorn butter all over her glasses. She couldn't see a thing out of it. Not that she was looking through the glasses anyway. She was looking everywhere else but the screen. She was not interested in the movie. She was more interested in the popcorn and the glasses.
Well, I think until this more recent run with the 3D that they've come out with, where they've actually... It's still not perfect, but it's a lot better.
I bet they made it better than the last time.
I think the last time I saw a 3D movie, they still had the red and blue lenses.
That's what I had. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do the red and blue lens.
Now it's like you're almost wearing like a pair of sunglasses. There's a little bit slightly different tint to the lenses, and if you take them off, the screen looks blurred, but you stick them on, it kind of...
I remember when the TV, they used to put 3D movies on television back in like the 80s or something. You used to get 3D glasses at like grocery stores or something like that. They would hand them out, and you could watch The Creature from the Black Lagoon in 3D or something on TV. And if that shows my age at all.
I've been, now I'll have to find a time to see it this weekend. I'm sure, it's going to be hard to find showtimes.
Yeah.
But... see what I got.
I'll get to it when I get to it. I don't know. I think I'm the only person.
Bills are on Saturday this week, so that's
really?
that makes it weird. Yeah.
I think I'm the only person in my family that cares to watch the new Star Wars movie. So maybe I'll just go by myself during the afternoon when they're at work.
I don't mind that. I don't mind
me either.
Alone movies. I was thinking about going to see that like Richard Jewell movie by myself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like it's movies that like I know my friends wouldn't be interested in. That. Those are the ones that I would go to by myself. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, you can't talk anyway, you know.
Yeah, no.
It's just, I guess, the awkwardness of purchasing the ticket.
And you can form your own opinion about the movie too. I like going to concerts by myself too, because I don't have to worry about anybody else enjoying themselves. I could either like it or not like it. Have my beer, form my own opinions, and go home saying, "That was fun," and not have to say, "Did you have a good time? Did you like them? What'd you think?" You know.
Yeah. The only golf I don't like doing by myself, because I'm always worried that if I hit like a hole in one, like you don't have the test, so like no one will believe you.
Speaking of golf, anybody follow the President's Cup this weekend?
I did. I watched a lot of it. I think I love team golf because I love it. It's like totally different than the formality of like regular tournament golf. So the fans can boo. They booed the American team and they were cheering for their team. And but the American team made a great comeback.
Yeah,
It was
I heard.
awesome. Yeah,
I didn't watch
Tiger
it.
started the show. He took on like their guy, the hottest golfer, Abraham Answer, the hottest golfer for the other team, and Tiger beat him. And then pretty much the momentum just carried on through the entire day. I think the Ryder Cup's a little bit better. There's more history, and
Right.
the other and the European teams better than the U.S. team. So it's like the U.S. is the underdog in the Ryder Cup, whereas in the President's Cup, the other team has only won once. So the U.S. team consistently dominates. This one, they had a big lead, and the U.S. team had to rally back, but the U.S. team's still like heavily favored.
The difference between the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup is the Ryder Cup is the European Tour against the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
The European Tour picks their guys. The PGA Tour picks their guys. The President's Cup, everybody is picked by the PGA Tour, which means they can kind of stack the deck whichever they want to.
But it's also, I think it's also, the world just doesn't, it's not there yet. They're better than what they used to be, but they're just not there yet. I guess like the U.S. team had their top like
U.S. had 10 of the top 20 in the world, and Brooks Koepka wasn't there because he's injured.
And they didn't even have number one.
The other team had 2 of the top 50 in the world or whatever. It's
and they were like 19 and 20
yeah.
in the world ranking. So it's just
until they come up with a way to make it more even, it's just not. It's boring to me.
Yeah, I don't think it can be even until they build. They get more players that are good.
Europe's now kind of the favorite in the Ryder Cup, but you go in knowing that even though they're the favorite, they know it, and everyone watching it knows any team could win that. The U.S. has been there going in that final round all the time, and they just kind of blow it in the
I get bizarrely passionate over that. I really want the U.S. team to win.
See, I'm opposite.
You root against the U.S.
I do root
team?
against the U.S.
Why?
It's more interesting. It's more interesting.
What?
It's more interesting.
For the European Union? Sergio Garcia?
My family background is Italian. I root for the Italians.
Okay, I mean that's fine. Like rooting for Molinari, but you're rooting for Sergio Garcia over Tiger. Oh yeah, you're not a Tiger guy.
I'm not. I think he's overrated. He played when
he has more wins than anyone.
Yeah, how do you qualify that statement?
He also is the greatest. He is the most impactful athlete to his given sport than any athlete.
Is he
ever?
Let me ask you this:
the ratings go up 70% when he plays.
You want to talk about impactful though? How many good young African Americans have taken up golf?
I mean,
none.
More than
they're still playing basketball. They're still playing football. They're still.
I mean, yeah, but
he's had no impact on the numbers in golf.
I don't
really.
know.
He has
recreational golf. I mean,
maybe, but I mean, it's just not
professional.
Remember how everyone once said he was going to?
He's only 40, 45.
Still, you would think the next generation would
20
start
years.
coming through. Yeah,
that means there should be kids in their 20 years, at least in their 30s, watching him when they were 10, and they're just not there.
Harold Varner's there now.
It's the same thing with they once said the guy, and I like him too. I can't think of his name.
I think that's more. I think that says more about golf than about Tiger. It says more about the sport. That a lot of people just don't like. Golf's also very economically driven. It's tough.
That's true as well.
It's just it's a tough sport to. It's like ice hockey.
So it's tennis.
Hard sport to get into if you're there aren't that many people from poor neighborhoods that can play.
I think the Williams sisters have more impact on women's tennis as far as because you see more.
You're seeing it, I guess. Coco Gauff.
Yeah.
But they're also she's 15. So I mean, there may be 15-year-old golfers that we don't know yet because they're not there. It's hard to break into the PGA Tour at 15.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I just think TV wise, Tiger means a ton to the golf audience, probably more so than any athlete. Tom Brady could retire, and people will still watch football the same.
Yeah,
I watched Tiger less because I got tired of watching Tiger Woods play when he was 30 strokes off the lead, and you couldn't see the leader playing great golf.
I think he's a lightning rod.
And
though.
it's
I think no matter what, but the crowd cares more about it. It's weird. It is really weird, but every tournament when Tiger is in contention, the ratings go up an astronomical amount.
That goes back to the old front runner thing. You want to see the guy who's on top of his game, whether he's on top of his game or not. If he could be losing by 20 strokes, everyone's still rooting for Tiger because he's the best golfer at that time. The true golf fan wants to watch the guys who are winning that tournament and see how well they're playing.
Yeah, I would say that I'm not like Tiger doesn't. I'll still watch even if Tiger's not there.
And the true golf
I really care about the sport, but I cannot deny that there is so much more hype and energy.
There is, but that doesn't mean there's more golf fans because of Tiger Woods. Because
I think there definitely are more golf fans.
Then why are the ratings down when he's not playing? They're Tiger fans. They're not golf fans.
Yeah, but what I mean is that I think that, there are a lot more people that go to these tournaments because Tiger got them into the sport. It may not necessarily transcend into race or whatever.
No, I understand.
I think that
there are Tiger Woods fans.
I know that there are a lot of kids my age that play golf now because they love Tiger Woods, and because he kind of brought just an energy and he played
physicality. He looked like an athlete.
He looked like an athlete, and
cool.
It's something that you could strive. Exactly, he was cool, and a lot of the golfers that Tiger played, I watched. You can still look on YouTube. I think there's the 2000 Masters, and the guys he's playing against are guys that I see drinking beers on the golf course in June, and then you see Tiger Woods, who's definitely an athlete playing the sport, and he's just crushing the ball. Young Tiger Woods was unbelievable.
And there's cool red shirts. He's muscular.
But
Nike.
A lot of that has
his outfits were sharp. And now I think that a lot of the players you see nowadays, Tiger Woods may not have influenced what you want them to. He influenced Brooks Koepka. He influenced Ricky Fowler. Brooks Koepka says he likes golf because Tiger likes golf, and he works out because Tiger worked out. So all the guys that are winning on tour now are winning because they modeled themselves after Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods has changed the game.
Yeah.
People bomb the ball now because Tiger Woods started that.
No, he didn't. Jack Nicklaus started that. Jack Nicklaus was hitting the ball 320 yards with wooden woods and balls that didn't fly as well.
Yeah, but people didn't care as much.
Yeah, they did. The guy who really changed golf was Arnold Palmer because he was the first working class man to become a golfer.
I love lemonade.
I love Arnold Palmer.
They actually have one that's a peach tea. They call it the Golden Beer one because they named it after Jack Nicklaus. I'm really?
Arnold Palmer is a Wake Forest guy, born and bred.
Yeah.
He gave back to the school too. He's one of my heroes.
Two-time Pennsylvania State champion.
Yeah, he's a legend.
But he was the first guy. Golf at that point was a rich man's game. Yeah. That was it.
I think Tiger also.
It all comes around.
I think the other thing that makes Tiger so compelling is his self-inflicted issues. I think that people love a redemption story. People love I don't think he can ever totally redeem himself for what he did.
People enjoy rooting against him as well. There's a flip side to that coin.
Everyone loves a redemption story.
And that's the other thing. Yeah. It's there are people that love to root against him, and I think that's what makes it so compelling.
I don't like to root against them. I could care less.
I think it's hard to root against people in golf. It's just it's not really what happens.
When I tune in, I want to see who's winning. I want to see how well they're playing. Are they going to keep the lead or not? And it's not. Before it was Tiger, it was other people. But it's the same thing. When those people are in the tournament, it's we'll focus on those guys. Yeah. And it's well, I'd rather see the leader. I don't care if the guy's never won a tournament in his life. I want to see how well he's playing.
I think they show Tiger a lot, but it's not like they never show the leader. They follow the leader throughout the entire tournament.
Now they do. When Tiger was at the top of his game, and when he'd have a down tournament, you'd see the leader make a putt on the 18th hole. That was it. And that's when I kind of became disinterested in golf.
When he first started making his comeback, that's when it seemed to get really egregious, especially with the stories that the Associated Press was sending us, because Tiger Woods would play in a tournament, he'd make the weekend or something, and the guy that's actually in the lead, they don't get to him till the third graph. They talk about Tiger faltering. Oh, by the way, this
Tiger
guy
was plus 4 today.
Yeah, this guy won.
And it's just.
I can understand how that would be bothersome.
Yeah, that bothered me. You know, we'll get to him. You know, can we talk about the guy that actually accomplished something?
I guess nowadays they are better with that. They are, you know, he's still a factor in it. But say I don't know, Mark Leishman's winning a tournament, they'll still lead with Mark Leishman leading the tournament, and then the first person they talk about after that would be Tiger, which I think is at least. Good.
But I will say,
that's on the media and the reporters more than Tiger. Like, it's not Tiger's fault that they care about him.
That is where the whole.
He would probably rather be less talked about when he's losing.
Probably.
It is actually nice to see that Tiger Woods actually came through in a clutch situation at a tournament like that, though, because he's certainly never done it during the Ryder Cup. His record in the Ryder Cup is not very good. So.
He was actually one of the stars in the President's Cup was Woods. He was, I think, 3-0. He sat out Saturday, which was on Friday night in the States, I
couldn't figure out when to watch
it. The timing was wild.
Yeah.
It was for some reason they were able. I guess it's a 12-hour, 14-hour difference. I think.
Was it?
So it started at 5 p.m. every day. So we were working. So I was I would see on my phone like updates and stuff, and they were. It would end at like 2 a.m. or midnight. So it actually worked. It wasn't too bad, I guess. If you like were post work wanted to watch a sport, like it's pretty good timing in the States. But I can't really get myself to be like I want to watch golf at 5 p.m. to midnight.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of fun. Golf's pretty much done for a couple months now. Now it's all basketball, hockey, football. This is football.
Wrestling.
March, February, somewhere in there.
Yeah, but I think now we're in playoff fest for football. So,
yay!
And bowl season.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun. We can talk about that next
bowl
week
season
or
just
the week after.
Goofy because.
So anyways, I don't hate Tiger Woods. That's what I would
day.
say. I actually do think he's a heck of a golfer. And if I'm making my Mount Rushmore, he's on there.
That's very nice. Nice.
If I'm making my Mount Rushmore, he's on there with Nicklaus and Palmer and who would the fourth guy be? Nah, I would probably have to go with Sam Snead. Ben Hogan,
way back then. Yeah.
But it's the same. But
I was saying Hulk Hogan.
I like it's the same with
Gilmore.
LeBron James. I like LeBron
Charles
James,
Barkley.
but everyone knows Jordan's the GOAT.
Steph Curry.
It's just the hype. It's easy to hate the hype more than it is the actual player because the hype does get grating at times. The ubiquity of his coverage.
I wonder what LeBron's legacy will be if he wins with a third different team. He takes another team to a title.
And
what will his legacy be if he takes
right now? They're number one,
and he loses again.
But I guess his last thing he would try is I want to beat out Jordan. I don't think it's necessarily possible.
He'll never do it.
That's I guess where the last step is. I mean, I know that he's trying to prolong his career because he wants to play with his kid.
Well, I guess that's the next step is he gets to.
I saw a little bit of his son play. He played against his dad's
St. Vincent, St. Mary
on Saturday night, and
hit the game winner.
He hit the game winner. It was a steal and score, and so. That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
You gotta be. I'm fascinated to see what he does with college because LeBron didn't have to go to college.
No.
And I imagine the son would want to maybe do what LeBron didn't get to do and play college basketball because LeBron said he would have liked to. He just knew that it was better financially to just go pro. LeBron would have went to Ohio State if he could. So I'm wondering if maybe Bronny James would want to do that.
I do have a quick question on you're talking about him playing LeBron's old school, St. Vincent, St. Mary's, was that?
Yeah. The Irish.
Are they as good as they were when LeBron was there?
I would say
no, but they played pretty well. I was impressed that they hung with him because
I just wondered.
The Bronny James' school was ranked in the top 10 in the country. St. Vincent, St. Mary was unranked, and they went down to the wire with him. So. Props to them. That's pretty wild that high school basketball is on ESPN Plus.
I suppose, yeah. That's another thing that's
just one team's high school basketball. Yeah.
Well, remember when?
Don't forget. You know what tomorrow is, don't you?
When
you know what tomorrow is, don't you?
No what?
National Signing Day for football, which means ESPN's gonna be showing people sitting there changing their hats around.
Oh, I love the hat switches.
I hate it. I will not watch a single second of it. It's the most worthless television ever.
I'm calling off now because I want to watch some hat switches.
I would rather watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Oh, he's got Alabama. Oh no, he's going to Tennessee.
Who was it last year? The one kid had the one hat and he stuck it on and he took it off and switched it, and his grandmother got up and left.
I also like the kid that he like pulls out of his like shirt. He's like pulling a hat there, and he's like, "This one, no," and throws it. Then pulls out two of them.
Stupid.
They're just having fun.
Just having some fun with it, Matt.
They're kids.
Kids, Matt.
They love breaking the hearts of like.
Let them play, man.
Because there's like a 55-year-old like Tennessee fan that's super mad because the kid threw the Tennessee hat to go to Ole Miss or something.
You know what the Tennessee coach is doing? I don't care. You're my second choice. I got my first choice. So.
Oh no, Tennessee. They're probably
not Tennessee, but Alabama. Saban's like, I got 6 guys waiting lined up to sign here, just like you. So you go wherever you want.
Well, on signing day. I think the signing day is a good way to close it out here.
Okay, we'll close it out here. Go ahead, close it out. Tell them where to reach us, Jordan.
You can reach us at sports at Meadvilletribune.com.
Ah, it's not so easy, is it?
At Tribune_sports on Twitter. You can say hi at games. And what did I miss?
You can throw a rock through the window.
No,
don't do that. Don't do any of that stuff. And please be nice to the refs.
And
they try so hard.
You can leave us a message on the Tribune account on Facebook. We will get it.
Will we?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Good. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Be nice to the refs.